Good evening and welcome to another episode of The Coach's Box. Ray Halbrook here from Livestream STL. Thanks for watching tonight, and we are going to have our second part of football, our football episodes here, and open up things here for the boys here. Guys, how's everything going?
Good.
Going. Everybody's got that down there on their phones, getting everything rolling here. We've got to make sure that everybody knows that we're up and live here.
That's right.
So we've got football.
Hey, you guys
Coach Miller?
turn your phones off, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't want
Don't
to pull the
I
shooting.
did. I turned
you
it
do
off.
that?
Well, I didn't do anything. Don't blame me.
Oh, we already got the David E. Jarvis watching.
Jughead
number one's on.
Already watching.
Just go ahead and start on the comments.
Yeah, no, get ready. Here we go.
Hey, the good news is, everybody, I guess it worked out because we found Blair.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks.
And he was over in one of these booths. I think he was passed out recovering.
Yeah, took a nap.
A long nap.
For a couple days.
Beach was rough.
It was rough.
How was that?
It's a great time, man. Great time.
Did you hang out with all those college kids coming down there and flocking to Florida?
No, we had in our condo that we stayed at, we had about 45 softball teams in our complex.
Oh, man.
And it was full of 12 to 14-year-old girls running around. And I'll tell you what, man, it was loud, obnoxious till wee hours of the night. But there's a big softball, I guess, national tournament there for the next 3 weeks. Different age groups are there. I think this week it's the older kids that are there. But, it was crazy amount of kids, more than I've ever been. We've been going here for like 8 years, and it was crazy this year compared to what normally it is.
So it was crazy.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. Glad to be back, though. Glad to be back here.
That's good.
Let me sit next to you, Jarvis.
No, scoot over.
Get some social distance between us. We do have a special guest because Coach McVay is coaching his son's baseball team, I think, tonight.
He's out on assignment, sir.
Well,
Okay.
he's coaching a little bit. He's trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, he wasn't taking vacation days.
Oh, he actually is coaching?
Well, I don't know. He's running practice.
Oh, okay.
Nobody cares about practice.
Okay.
I don't.
Practice.
Anyway, we have a special guest. It's Coach. I'm going to butcher it. I butcher all names, so hopefully I don't. Coach Saharsky.
Correct.
For the new Hillsboro head football coach. So thank you for joining us. Hopefully we don't scare you off and you want to come back on. We try not to do that too much. We only run off people we don't like. And I'm just kidding.
So Ginge isn't coming back.
Ginge is never coming back. He's like, thanks for having me. I'm never coming back on the show.
I'm out.
So anyway, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
How are things, at Hillsboro being the new guy?
Pretty good so far. Our numbers have been great. We really got started last Monday, and with the paperwork that's turned in, we've had about, I counted yesterday, 99 9th through 12th graders come out lifting, and we've had 52 junior high kids, 7th and 8th grade. So we're in the process of quickly ordering more helmets because we're pretty close to running out of large helmets, and that's a good problem to have, but it's a big expense when you call up Rydell and say, hey, we need 30 helmets and that stuff. So it's been exciting, and, the kids have been excited about it. Kids are excited when things start, especially being off so long.
Right.
You really see we've had really good attendance. We've had a few kids on vacation, which is completely understandable since a lot of kids' vacations got shut down in May and June, and we've had some kids who have been playing some baseball tournaments, which is understandable too because their summer baseball got pushed back and everything. So we've worked around that, and we go in the morning pretty early, so that usually doesn't be a problem. But later in the week, if kids go for that Thursday, Friday tournament, out of town stuff, we've had a few. But I told the kids from day one, if COVID didn't prove that you shouldn't be a one-sport athlete, I don't know what did, because those poor kids who lost that spring season, I tell them all, hey, do everything you can. You're a kid once.
Yeah.
And so
with
it's good.
that.
I tell them, hey, if you're not going to be here, go win and represent Hillsboro well. And as kids come back, we check on them. Hey, how'd you do this weekend? And I think they're excited. Not just talk football, but talk about what they do in general in life.
Oh yeah, get out of the house.
Yeah.
Do stuff. Have you had any coaches go on long vacations It'd be, I'm sorry. That was probably an attack on it.
It was the dead week last week. I mean, it was supposed to be the dead week, so
I don't know. I was in the gym working, Coach. I don't know.
It was supposed to have been the dead week, and I wasn't going to change out on my family. I already take enough time from my family as it is. So.
Coaches talk about how kids want to get on the field, get in the gym, and then he just, hey, I got to go.
But he also said that he'll take care of his family and be a part of the family that you got taken away from you for 2 months.
You thought just because you weren't here, now that you're back, that we were going to lay off.
Trust me, I know that.
Nope.
Not going to happen.
We're still probably going to post these all over the place.
That's
so
great.
Just so you're aware.
That's awesome.
I'll get some colored ones made.
Put them up in here.
It
Everybody,
should
they'll
have
find
been
them.
help. Coach Noodles missing.
If you see him yell noodles, he'll get his attention. I don't know if you watch do you watch our show?
Actually,
you can be honest. It's okay if you say
the
no.
first time when you guys called me, my wife got on it and everything, and my wife's more she's the president CEO of Ponybird, and so she's more into the social media. I got Twitter, and I've grown up a big Nebraska fan, so to be honest, I got Twitter for our football program and to keep tabs on what the Cornhuskers are doing all the time.
I'll try not to hold that against you.
And,
Mizzou's not in the Big 12. We're good.
So, I'm not a Facebook guy or anything like that. I just, stick to the sports I coach and pay attention to that. And obviously can't watch sports right now on TV, but those are kind of my hobbies and not on the social media. I tell my phones and kids today, I'm like, I'm not addicted to my phone like some people are. So it sometimes sits at the house and I might check it 3 hours later, 4 hours later. So
well, if it's you ever want to catch a game during the basketball season or football, live stream has a lot of games.
It does.
A lot of games.
Yeah, we do.
They have baseball games right now.
Yep.
Yeah,
We have
plugging
a lot of games
you
this
away,
week.
man. Look at
a lot of
you
games
go.
this week,
Wait,
actually.
tomorrow
Like a
night.
professional.
Tomorrow night. You can't wait for that one. It's going to be a fun one with Festus. Matt Festus is a doubleheader. I'm going to be on the call with Jim Power, so it'll
Another
be a
shameless
fun.
plug.
All right, get it in there. Put it in there, right?
Well, hopefully Jim Powers carries you.
He will. Trust me. Jim will
Back's
take
gonna
care.
hurt
He's great.
afterwards.
Yeah, did a great job.
Well, let's get
yesterday,
back to
so.
what counts here. Okay, you guys getting all sidetracked.
Sorry, that's football.
And it's right. It's football time. I don't know anything about it. So what phase are you guys in right now?
Actually tomorrow we start our phase 3. We've been in kind of a phase 2 situation where the kids have been divided and split up 2 to a rack. Luckily, a couple years ago, we had some work done where they added a pretty big weight room at our junior high. So having a good-sized facility down there now, brand new. We've actually had to divide the kids up based on numbers. So we got some of the kids going to the junior high in the morning and other kids going to the high school. So with 2 kids at our rack, we got 15 racks at the high school and 10 at the junior high. So been able to lift about 30 kids at the high school and 20 at one time. But we typically bring the kids in and divide them anyway, and half the kids work on outside speed and conditioning type stuff and flexibility training, and then the other half lift, and then we flip-flop after an hour. So being able to utilize both facilities have been able to keep our normal routine, because we go 6:30 to 8:30 with our high school kids in the morning, then 8:30 to 10:30 with our junior high.
So you haven't done any like sports specific stuff yet?
No, we actually talked. This was back when Lee was still the head coach back in April, and when all this stuff was going down with COVID, we looked at the schedule, and when we heard that July 1st was when we were going to be allowed to get back going in the county, the question was, do we start camp early or do we keep 2 weeks of straight lifting with speed and conditioning? And we kind of felt that it'd benefit the kids physically more if we could make sure they got at least 2 weeks of lifting in before we went into our camp. Our camp was already scheduled for the last 2 weeks of July, so we kept it that way. Also, too, I think you have to, with everything getting pushed back and nothing being able to happen in June, our basketball program and some of our other programs, they lost out on opportunities for open gyms and everything. So
believe me, I know.
Everybody's been fighting. I shouldn't say fighting, but everybody has stuff scheduled with all the different facilities. Sure. And if we were, say, lifting and going right after and doing, say, a 1 hour, 1.5 hour session, well, that's going to push into our kids who play basketball and our kids who are involved in other sports. And we didn't want kids to have to pick and choose. So we just kind of kept our schedule as it was and made it as easy on the kids to go from football to basketball, because right when we're ending with weightlifting, they're turning around and going to basketball open gyms and things like that. So we wanted those kids to have that opportunity, not really have to pick and choose with adding stuff late.
Well, and we did it similarly, except that we're doing football in the morning, and then I get the evening with basketball if I want. And I'm only doing 2 days a week right now with basketball. Football, we started pretty slow, and now this week I think we're doing 4 days, and then an optional day if they want to come.
Yeah.
And we're doing a lot of strength conditioning, that type of thing too.
Right. Yeah, so we'll get the pads on helmet and shoulder pads on Monday and get going with the installation of stuff.
Just putting in the time, like you said, you don't want to automatically just bring those kids in and just put them right to the fire right away. I mean, some of them probably haven't done anything since March 17th when we all shut down. So, I mean, you got to take a lot of that into consideration. These are still kids. You don't want to put them out there and then risk an injury or an issue that we have to deal with, and down the line, you don't want to deal with that right now. Got enough to deal with as it is. So I think that's a smart move on all the schools' parts to kind of start out slow and work yourself up to a gradual more increase as time goes by.
You don't think kids can just run out there and play?
Shoot, no.
Come on.
Well, they had since March to get in shape.
But Coach, I've been working on my game.
Sure, right? Yeah, my fingers game.
Call of Duty master right now.
Yeah,
right.
We had some kids who came back, and you could obviously tell they spent some time in the weight room and had access to weights and everything at home. The unfortunate thing was, for my own son, who'll be a freshman, for him, we have a whole weight set down in the basement, squat rack, hex bar, all that stuff for him to lift, but other kids don't. And I was looking at buying him a few other things, but when all the gyms closed, I got on Amazon to buy him a few things, and the prices just absolutely skyrocketed.
Oh, yeah.
And so kids who didn't have access to that stuff weren't spending $500 for a pound or two 45-pound bumper plates because they were pretty pricey.
It's a good time to buy stock in Amazon.
Yeah, absolutely. We ordered a lot. I mean, it was like every day. I told my wife, I said, something's coming in every day from Amazon for the kids or for us or
our
all that
kids.
different stuff.
We gave them ideas of using household items that they could do to do their. Like I came home one day and my son's got a towel with his gym bag on it doing triceps extensions. I'm like, hey, that was a pretty good idea.
Yeah, we definitely gave him some ideas and different things, whether it's weighted jugs, filling old jugs with stuff, and just using that. But again, it goes back to what the kids have access to.
Oh, yeah.
Just body squats, a lot of body exercise that they didn't have access to weights. And we kind of, through Google Classroom, had all the kids sign up and then sent them, if you have weights, here's your workout. If you don't have weights, here's your workout. And tried to keep things going that way, and some different fun little workouts with just finding ways to keep them active and hope that they did those things.
That's the thing, is just trying to find a way to keep them active.
Right.
And that's I think that was the hardest part, during that whole period of time, was just reaching out and saying, hey, how's things going? What have you been doing? What do you, what's some of the things that, and it's very difficult for, someone like a football player. I mean, but if they didn't have those weights and those things, I mean, it was difficult for some of those kids to be able to do anything football related. So, it makes it really difficult as a kid, try to emphasize, lifting weights if they didn't have a bench or something to do.
I mean, I can only say, I went to a high school that didn't have football because we were that small. I only graduated 25 people. So when I'm thinking about what I would do if I didn't have those weights, well, I mean,
you'd be farming.
Hell, I'd be out throwing hay. I know exactly what I'd be doing. I'm just sitting there thinking, like, how difficult must it be to actually have to acquire these things? It's like I'll tell this story. So when I first started coaching, there was this kid who was in 8th grade, and he talked like this, and I said his name was William, and William's dad was run a sawmill. He was in 8th grade. He could outlift any senior, and I was like, William, how'd you get so strong? He's like, well, I went and picked up a rock, and I carried it until I got tired, and I set it down. And I went and picked up another rock, and carried it until I'm like, are you serious? He goes, yeah. And then Dad made me work in a sawmill. So he's like carrying railroad ties when he's a kid. So I'm just thinking, like, how crazy is it that kids have no access? And I'm thinking how I grew up with kids, and not necessarily all like William, but, I mean, it wouldn't be a big deal if let's go throw hay, and how much of a workout that is, and then and how much people down south are benefiting, but they don't have football. Mm-hmm. So it's crazy. We have all this football workouts that we could be doing farm-wise, and then, we don't have it.
Right.
So I mean, we've been in great shape. And it's probably way off topic, so I'll just,
Not at all.
So, Coach, I got a question for you. Taking over, the program. I mean, have you kept most of the coaching staff on staff?
Yeah, we have 10 guys on staff right now. We're still looking for 2 guys who want to coach with us. But
There's a plug. There's a plug right out there to let
Shameless
everybody
plug.
know.
So
We need you.
we get 10 guys that are back from the staff, so everyone's pretty familiar with what we do. Just like everything else, everybody will add a little bit of what they, how they do things a little bit different and everything. So we'll look to add and do some different stuff, philosophically. Keep some of the stuff the same, but at the same time, you play to your strengths.
Sure.
We got some really good, our senior class is small, but we got some pretty special players there. But our depth will have to come out of our junior and sophomore class, and there's some just like last year, we got some freshmen that are good size that that work their way in as the year goes on. So pretty exciting.
That kind of led to one of my questions was you're taking over a program that's been pretty successful, and I think you took over a program the first time that was pretty decently successful. So what are some things that you're wanting to implement to keep that going? I mean, I don't know. What may you want to change and what keep the same? You kind of touched on some of it.
Well, we have some kids who I think can catch the ball that are coming up through, so I think we're definitely going to look to throw a little bit more. Even last year we talked as a staff that we've got to get to the point where we throw it when we want to, not when we have to. Mm-hmm. And so we've kind of preached that to the kids that, these drills, when we throw it, you got to catch it. And so you got to be cognizant of getting out there and practicing and doing those things to work on, catching the ball and things like that. So we'll implement a little bit more of that, some pre-practice stuff that we did when I was at Herky, where the kids just go out and they play catch before practice, any receiver and things like that, to help with the passing game. Defensively, at times, I think we'll be a little bit more aggressive this year. We got some kids I think we can bring off the edge that are pretty quick, so I would like to get after it a little bit more from that standpoint. And, we just want to increase our physicality. We've always been a physical run team. We want to continue that. And then on the defensive side, we want to increase that physicality even more. And we're really encouraging the kids, hey, multiple guys of football. And do your job and get there and be relentless. That's kind of a word we've used quite a bit, is relentless with everything we do.
And if you can pass the ball a little bit, in which you're sounding like you're going to want to pass the ball a little more, it'll probably open up your run game.
Absolutely. Last year we lost Dylan Dace in the Jamboree, and he was a 1,000-yard back as a sophomore. And luckily Jackson Patterson stepped up.
I was going to say, you had someone step in pretty well for
us. And Jackson, he's a tough, hard-nosed kid. He's a kid who you can definitely tell that COVID didn't stop him from finding a weight rooms, because he's worked really hard physically. He's in really good shape for us. And there's games last year he carried 40-plus times a game as a freshman. And we pulled him aside and we said, hey, we love you, but we also want to be able to love you on week 10 and with you on the field and not on the sideline. So
and as a sophomore and a junior.
Yeah. So and he knows. Another kid who stepped up for us last year, freshman Austin Romaine, he'd have got even more carries, but he went down and missed about 4 weeks with a shoulder injury for us. And he's a 6'2", 215-pound kid who can definitely tote the rock as well. And then we got some other kids between John Bennett and Tyler Watson who carried the ball for us a little bit last year. So we got some options in the backfield to kind of takes a little bit more off the shoulders of those guys and kind of spread it around. We kind of want to, if a guy breaks off a long run, and then roll another guy in there and be fresh and not wear somebody down. That's kind of how we're looking at it.
That'll really put some pressure on defenses that are going to face you guys, knowing you can roll out 4 or 5 running backs.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And they really have a lot to prepare for there.
That's correct. So, and you want to give those kids the opportunities who deserve to play. And, every kid who's working hard in the weight room, you want them to have opportunities.
Right. So, knowing what I know about Hillsboro football, what I've seen in the past, and you've obviously worked there, and you just alluded to it just enough to kind of answer the question a little bit. You obviously, Hillsboro likes to run the ball.
Right.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I helped announce some of the games a few years ago. Didn't know anything about Hillsboro football. We did 3 games. I'm like, okay, I think they've thrown it 4 times.
Right.
So in 3 games. But, I know you want to throw it more, but do you feel like there's going to be more balance to it, or you just want to, like you said, are we using passing to set up the run or running to set up the pass?
You always – I think if you watched us play week 1 last year, we played Sullivan in an absolute monsoon game. I mean, it was a game that every football every football we used was ruined.
Stop reminding us about it, right?
I think we used 10 or 12 balls in the game, and they were shot just waterlogged afterwards. And those footballs, when they get that much rain, they're never the same. And
they're not cheap.
No, they are not. So, we definitely always want to be able to run the ball and have that to where you're not reliant on throwing it everywhere and then getting a situation where you play a rain game like that and you can't do anything because it's coming down so bad.
So we're not going to see 5 wide chucking it all over.
We won't be 5 wide, but we will get in a few different sets. We've talked to the kids. We've done some walkthrough stuff in the evenings the last 2 weeks and gone over some of the new wrinkles we'll do. You talk about Jackson. Jackson's got great hands, so he's a kid who can definitely move him outside and get him the ball and everything. And like I said, we got other kids coming up in the program that have proven they can catch the ball and have made some big catches at the lower levels for us. So,
what type of impact do you think that junior high weightlifting program that you guys have put in over there? My son has played on a couple Hillsboro basketball teams, and so I got to talk to a lot of parents at Hillsboro, and heck, they had 7 or 8 full weightlifting classes at the junior high. And I mean, so you're getting kids and not having to teach them anything. Like we get a freshman sometimes and we're having to teach them how to squat, how to hang clean, how to do all those things. You're already getting kids that probably know how to do all that.
Yeah, and Coach Pierce, he does an absolute wonderful job down there. My son, who's going to be a freshman this year, every other day during the whole COVID thing when he was working out in the basement, Coach P taught us this, and this, because, hey, if you have questions, let me say, and he knew all that stuff. Right. He knew the proper technique, and that's a credit to Coach Pierce.
They do a lot of stuff with, like, just bars.
Yeah, we start out just with the bars and make sure the kids understand the lift before they do anything else. And we have just the bars in the weight room, but we even have just long PVC pipes in the weight room, and we make sure that everywhere from just proper squat technique to power cleaning. When we teach the power clean, it's literally pulling it off the floor up to your knee, and they don't go any further than that.
Well, yeah, that's one of the hardest ones in my mind to try to that power clean and the hang clean to get them to do it right without them screwing their back up or whatever. Yeah.
Right. So and then once they kind of graduate from that, we'll put the 10-pound training bumper plates on for them, which doesn't add hardly any weight, but it does then give them that where the bar usually sets on the ground for power clean. So we take it one step at a time, and then by the time they get to us as freshmen, they can hit the weight room and come right in with our older kids, and they really don't miss a beat and know how to keep up with those kids. And
that's awesome.
And it's really, really helped.
Huge.
That you can see the excitement in the kids when their bodies start to change and, they start talking about it.
And they start seeing it.
Yeah, they physically start seeing it.
Yeah.
And it's definitely paying
Start
dividends.
doing all those curls for the girls, right? Oh, yeah.
So my other question is to you, what the difference in becoming now a head coach to a program that you've been an assistant underneath for how many years now?
Oh, I've been at Hillsboro for 13 years, but I did spend 3 years at R7. Coach Rugley, when he got the job, he's actually a relative of mine. He's my cousin. And so he asked me to come over and help him for a couple of years, and he's family, so I went over there. And then when my son got back into the junior high, we came back to Hillsboro and everything. And I enjoyed my time. It was a great place to work for. Good people over there, and it was fun and getting to meet those kids. But so I've been there a while, and kind of definitely know what we do, and want to keep it rolling.
Now, what do you think the biggest challenge for you taking over the program is going to be?
Obviously right now, to be honest, it's the uncertainty with everything. And I think everybody would say that. Even coaches who've been at their program for 10 years, the kids had to sign a COVID waiver form. And, we sent it out on Huddle. We sent it on Google Classroom. We sent it out on the school webpage and reminded them, hey, you got to get that turned in before you do anything. And we still had a few kids, mainly younger kids, who showed up. I didn't know where to get it. Well, you can't do anything. So call your mom or dad, come back, fill it out, because you can't do anything.
Right.
And so just the uncertainty of everything is probably the biggest challenge that we're facing right now.
Sure.
Well, the music right there, you just got blared, pretty much, because anytime Blair gets into a long rant about something, music comes on, it's time to go to break.
Ray puts the music on.
It's perfect since it's his question. That's what it is.
That's what earlier I
got
thought you might get it during the farming story. I thought he was
I know. I was waiting for him. I was wondering if he was going to jump in there. But anyway, we're going to turn it over to Ray for our first break.
We are. We will be right back. You're watching the Coach's Box.
For fine Mexican cuisine,
A family atmosphere.
any place to watch your local sport teams. Come out to La Pachangas. Check out our 4 locations: Arnold, Herculaneum, Crystal City, and Bonter. Come out to La Pachanga.
A former player and coach of Festus 253 baseball, and now specializing in criminal defense, family law, wills, estates, and trusts, the law offices of Matthew Brown is here for you, representing you the right way, not the easy way. In Festus at 101 East Main Street or on Facebook and the web, call 314-628-0033.
Guys, I've always wanted to ask you this since you're both pitchers. What's your favorite pitch? It's a fastball? Okay, I know. It's a curveball. No? Okay, well, what's your favorite pitch? Oh, yeah. Spitball.
The Main Street Sports Show. You never know what we're going to throw at you.
Since their inception in 1980, SMCI has always been about high integrity and treating people the way you would want to be treated, just like family. Mostly known as a commercial contractor, SMCI has now decided to give the family treatment to everyone. They are now opening their residential department to the public as Home by SMCI so everyone can experience the home treatment. Everyone deserves maximum comfort in their very own home. Isn't it time you come home? Contact SMCI at 636-337-4444 or on the web at homebysmci.com.
USA Mortgage, the home of possibility. Offices located in Festus, servicing homeowners from St. Louis to Cape Girardeau. Contact Justin Neal at 636-385-5232 or check him out on the web at festus.usa-mortgage.com.
I wonder what Coach Jarvis is up to.
Jason! What's up? What's up? Ah!
Oh, hang on a minute. I got a call from Blair.
What's up?
What am I doing? I'm sitting here watching the Coach's Box.
This must be a wrong number.
This live stream SDL has been a huge asset for Jefferson County sports, in my opinion. I mean, getting these athletes the camaraderie that they're out there and people can see them. I mean, to be honest with you, I got a call from a coach yesterday about one of my athletes that said that they saw some of her games on live stream SDL.
Awesome.
So, I mean, that right there instilled to me that this is important. You know, this is important for those kids. And so, you know, I think it's great, and I wish you guys the best. You know, and
if you're out there and you want to sponsor, this is a great opportunity for kids to support kids of our local kids and get them support and get them acknowledgement out there, because we have a lot of great athletes in this county.
Well, we appreciate that. And at the end of the day, our mission is much the same as your missions, coaches, to help shine a light on these kids. And get them exposure and get their name out there and help them. And if they can advance, they're better off, we're better off as a community, and that's why we're here. Where's the game? Where's the game? Where's the game? There's the game. Livestream STL, now available on Roku.
I want to let you know a little bit about our Jeffco Diamondcast schedule this week. We'll start with the 15th here. You have Farmington and Festus. I'll have B. Riley Blair sitting across from me here, and also Jim Powers here. We'll have the call there for Farmington and Festus 5:30 and 7:30. We take their trip down to Charleston. Festus takes on Charleston at 5 and 7 o'clock on the 16th. We'll also have a watch party right here, so check out the watch party here. The watch party will be right here, 5 and 7 o'clock, out here at La Pachanga's Herculaneum. Festus is taking on Charleston, so come on out. We'll have the Roku channel here. Joel will have it up rolling for us. We finish up with the Ron Bone tournament this weekend. Oh, I'm sorry, that is correct. The 17th and 18th Ron Bone tournament, and Jim Powers will be out there for the 17th. We're looking for a couple of folks to maybe cover some announcing for the 18th for the Ron Bone tournament. 2 games on Friday night and then 3 games on Saturday, 11, 4 o'clock, and 6:30. So if you're interested, give us a call. If you're interested in sponsoring with us, give us a call over here at Livestream STL, 314-852-4398, or you can email us at livestreamstl@outlook.com, and we go into our second segment here for football. We're going to bring it right back out here to Mr. Miller. How you doing, Coach?
Doing good. Just listen to these guys talk about the glory days over here.
Right on.
Yeah, man.
There you go.
You guys
we hated Hillsboro back in the day when I was at Festus, so
nothing's changed, has it?
Well, I mean, no, I don't really play. I'm at Herky now, so we don't really play Hillsboro.
I mean, like Festus
everything else is Hillsboro still.
But Festus and Hillsboro, yes,
we covered a Festus Hillsboro football game whenever I was doing the color commentary with Will, and that was a pretty intense game. I really enjoyed it.
I'm in a text group with a couple of the coaches, and I'm like, hey, we got Bill on tonight. What do you want me to ask him, Festus guys? And they gave me nothing. Nothing. I'm like, come on.
Well, you can't read some of the stuff probably on the air.
Well,
it's profanity.
They can read this right here, what you wrote here, back-to-back Cranium Cup champs. How about that?
Oh,
back-to-back runner-up here.
Here, I'm sorry. You want me to sign something and give it to you? By the way, Blair didn't give me any answers, just so you know.
I don't know. It's like you got to Pius, and now you just kick my butt and everything, you know. Hey, you won 2 games this year against us. Now you got 2 Cranium Cups.
You remember at Grandview we beat you too.
Not as much as you're going to play.
Well,
you know,
Kobe back then.
You beat me twice in a year. You never did that at Grandview.
Kobe only played you once. he was okay
in 3 years.
Yeah, the other 2 years. I think the other 2 years you guys pretty much laid the screws to us.
I was nice. I didn't press when I was up
Here
30.
God dang it. We got to keep bringing this back up. It's the worst. It comes up all the time. Just try to be nice.
That's all right. Don't bring your starters in when you're up 50. You'll be okay.
Make sure you go ahead and do that this year when you guys are beating us. Jeez.
Well, that wasn't a shout at you anyway.
Can we just let bygones be bygones?
No.
Come on.
No. This is always
all right. Let's get back to the pigskin.
Yeah, let's talk about football. Forget basketball. What do we do? We got to do that out. Blair's over here like
it's hard to forget about basketball for me, but go ahead.
Just checking. All right, so the biggest thing is right now we got all this uncertainty going on. We've got other states who are talking about flipping seasons. I think what we talk about, South Carolina is the one that's wanted to flip flop, and I've heard what the NCAA came out, was it today or yesterday, and said that they're thinking about playing spring sports or pushing football into spring or
the junior
Junior college.
college.
Junior college. I'm sorry, I take that back. Yeah.
Yes, junior college went all the way. Nothing starts until January 1. Well, they'll do cross country. Is junior high or
junior high?
Junior high.
Junior high.
He's still in Florida. I know. It's okay. It's on the beach.
Junior college is only. I think the cross country is the only thing going on in the fall. Only sport that they're doing in the fall, and then everything else starts up in the winter, and then in the spring, everything from the fall goes to the spring.
So let's just say, and Coach, we'll start with you since you're the guest. I don't want to hear these guys talk anyway. What would be your thoughts in the event of flipping the season or starting everything after January 1st?
Well, I think you first have to look at how's that impact everything else the kids do. Are we talking moving fall sports back and then moving everything else back? Or are you going to tell kids that, hey, we're going to move it to the spring, but now you got to pick are you going to do baseball, are you going to do track, or are you going to do, make kids pick? Because ideally, nobody wants to do that.
Right.
I think that's going to be a coaching nightmare where you'd have coaches, in essence, really fighting for kids.
Yeah.
And
well, I think the whole idea is flip-flopping them completely, right?
Well, there's talk about
they
that.
They would run track now.
There was talk about pushing spring sports to the summer.
Oh,
so
okay.
starting spring and summer.
There's all kinds of different ideas.
Yeah, I mean,
and right now, Michigan's come out and they've said that they want to try to start football
right
on time. But
August 10th.
We can only assume that that's a fluid decision.
Tomorrow they could put out that it's canceled.
I mean, it depends on how many kids test positive and all kinds of crazy stuff. So,
right.
You bring up like it's just a fluid situation. I told the guys on staff, I said, who's ever you're the coordinator on varsity for offense or defense or whatever it might be. I said, you may find yourself calling the game on Monday night with the JV or freshman because just as the kids can get it, if a coach gets it and they say, hey, you're out 2 weeks with, if you're quarantined for 2 weeks and you're the D coordinator, well, somebody else got to step up and fill those shoes, or vice versa. You're the varsity coordinator, but now our 8th grade guy is gone and he can't call it for the 8th grade, so you might find yourself on a Thursday night. So I told everybody, hey, everybody's got to be ready to wear multiple hats. The plan's to start on time, but I kind of as I follow college football, and colleges are set up to where all the quarterbacks meet with the quarterback coach in the quarterback room and watch film and everything. Well, you got to think as a college, if you got all your quarterbacks in one room and one of them or two of them test positive, now suddenly every quarterback can't play for you. So no one has an answer.
Let me run the Wildcat at that point.
You'd be Kentucky like last year when Kentucky ran. But
that's right.
Yeah, like you said, it's fluid. Where
must be a Kentucky
don't
guy.
Start. Why did you?
He had to bring up Kentucky, didn't he?
Here we did.
Yeah.
Well, how many games they win with how many games they win with a non-quarterback playing a quarterback for them? They won a few of them last year.
Yes,
so.
Everybody was too busy laughing.
But
it worked.
I don't know. I think everybody will try to be, wants to give their expert opinion on it, but really nobody knows what's going to transpire if they want to start moving things around and how that's going to affect. The biggest thing when it boils down to, you don't want kids to miss stuff, but you don't want them to have to pick between stuff too.
No. That's what I was getting at. What I thought the idea was, we were going to run track now. We were going to do baseball now, and then do football in the spring, and then. There's been several scenarios that have been thrown out there.
That's the thing. I don't think there's so much uncertainty that there's so many predicaments and
pushing spring to the summer. I don't see how that it's all going to work.
Then the latest today that we heard was that there's a possibility that maybe we're just going to do conference opponents all year for every season. So who knows?
Yeah, you could do a home and home. With our conference, If you wanted to do it that way, that'd give you 8 games. You look at the Big Ten model. What they're trying to do with it is control everything within their own conference. They don't want a team going and playing a team that isn't testing their kids. Because I know that some of the smaller non-conference games that those programs were supposed to play came out, and those smaller schools were like, hey, we don't have the funds to test like you guys. And I think that kind of scared some of those, the thought process. Well, if we go and play and suddenly we got a huge amount of cases, how does that affect the rest of the season for those teams?
Yeah.
So
it sounds like college football needs to do some revenue sharing a little bit.
So I mean that idea could certainly be kicked around at the high school level, or keep it within your county. I've heard people just throw that idea out that you look at Jefferson County, you have some small schools and large schools, and keep it that way. But you just, like I said, a lot of ideas, but nothing in stone. Or
I think that's just because, like you said, everything can change from day to day, from week to week. And I mean, when we started this show like 16 weeks ago, we had no idea what this would look like even today. Mm-hmm. And it seems like during that time, there's been this ebb and flow. Like things look positive, they look terrible,
right?
And somewhere in the middle, we're going to figure it all out when it all falls in place. So. I mean, again, I think, like you guys said, the worst thing we can do is have kids pick or have coaches fight over kids or put them in a position where they don't get to do everything that they want to be able to do.
And if you're in a small school like we are, you have coaches that coach both those two sports.
Mm-hmm. But back when I was at Herky, I was Herky for 7 years, and just from our girls' sports in the fall, when you look at the success that – I mean, the cross country program is phenomenal there.
Boys
had good softball. You have volleyball. You have dance. You have cheerleading. I mean, you have a small school, and suddenly you have 5 or 6 activities for girls to pick. If they could play all of them at the same time, they could have been dominant in some of those things. Then you got an athlete, a couple athletes over here playing volleyball that could really help the softball team, or vice versa, or they're running cross country. I mean, that just gives you an idea at a small school when kids are just picking in a regular year, much less if you compound it and throw other sports in the mix.
Yeah, and not just the kids. Then you have coaches. I mean, I know I can name like 4 coaches that do 3 sports at our school.
Right.
I mean, I do 3 things. Cody Hunter does 3 things. Blair does 3 things. I mean, we got all these coaches that are doing that, and I can't imagine trying to do all that.
From a coaching standpoint, at this point, I'm just thankful that, and I'm just hoping and praying that the kids just get to play. Period.
Correct. Amen.
At this point, just giving the kids an opportunity to play, to me is the most important thing. I mean, there's only so many times you can get out there and just practice against each other. Wherefore, it's kids just lose focus. Until you don't get an opportunity to play. And
just last week when the kids came back, I mean, just the smile on their face of being back around their buddies.
Been awesome.
It's
been awesome.
And that's the thing, too, during the whole COVID thing. It's not like, back in March and April when the stay-at-home orders and all that stuff were in place. It's not like find a buddy, 3 or 4 of you find a buddy who's got a weight room in his basement and go there, because you don't want to encourage kids to do that. Yeah. Now, did they do that on their own? We don't know. I mean, I'm sure some of them found a way, but it's not something we encourage because – we've preached to the kids that be smart.
It's not something we encourage, and my kid's going to be in 10th grade, and I can tell you right now, there were kids were together. My son was probably one of the ones that didn't get to go do a lot of stuff, because I'm like, dude, no, you bring that home. I'm type 1 diabetic. You bring that crap home to me, I'm going to be in trouble,
Dad,
too.
Everybody's doing it.
Wow.
And you bring that up, and that was the same way with our kids. With my wife's job at Ponybird with the individuals who live there, they've done a really good job. Even their administrative office building, their contact, just her personal contact with the individuals has been extremely limited because at the end of the day, it's keeping them safe.
Well, all those businesses like Ponyberg and other, because I don't make enough money, I guess. I deliver pizzas sometimes, and
really,
we have pizzas? Those people all have to come out and meet us, and we're not taking cash from any of those places,
right?
And trying to keep all those residents and all those people safe, so that we don't want this stuff to spread. Like poor Festus Manor over here.
Correct.
Had over half the cases in Jefferson County. I mean, so
and with football and sports in general, a lot of the focus is on the kids, but you have officials out there too that are very close. I think people sometimes forget how close those guys are involved right in the game and grabbing a ball, grabbing your whistle, going right to your mouth. I mean,
and you got to also think that the average age of those officials are 55 to 65.
Right.
I mean, which if you want to be official, people, and you are young, please do.
Right.
Yes.
You bring up the need. I mean, we have a need for officials.
Oh,
we have a
yes,
shortage
we
there.
do.
And you don't want this to scare any potential official off, because then you might lose games because you don't have officials for them.
Well, Ray, I think you just pushed up today that we were out before we met, come on air about the MLB, where a bunch of umpires
That's like 10 of them opted out or something like that.
For the
hopefully
MLB
it's
season,
Angel Fernandez or whatever that guy is.
Angel Hernandez?
Whatever his name. He is terrible. He is the worst umpire. I could do a better job with one eye closed. I like Cowboy Joe West. Now, come on.
I always think of Don.
I'm just
Don
saying.
Dakinger or whatever, the guy that blew the Cardinals
Dakinger.
world.
I actually have a question from one of the fans watching tonight here, from Adrian Goodwin. It says, what are your thoughts on athletes signing waivers like the Hazelwood District is doing? How might that impact or turn out participation?
Like, what do you mean? What's the waiver that they're signing?
Because, I mean, our
Signing
kids
waivers?
signed waivers.
We signed waivers, too.
We all signed waivers as
Our
well.
kids all signed waivers, too.
But
I
I'm
don't know
wondering-
what Hazelwood's... It basically, ours said that their parents know that they're taking
a liability,
a chance that something, that something could.
They can't guarantee. They can't guarantee.
We can't, as a school district, guarantee anything.
Yeah.
We're not saying that you're giving the liability and putting it back in your lap when you say, I'm giving my kid an opportunity to participate, knowing that there's a possibility that he could come in contact or she could come in contact with COVID. So I think that, I think I read that today, something about Hazelwood where they there was a waiver where it was something about it wouldn't allow you to participate if you came in contact with anybody came in contact, you would take 14 days off immediately, regardless if one student got it. You would everybody has to take 14 days off. You would have to sign that waiver saying that you would agree to that. So, I mean, I don't know that every school is going to do that.
I mean, but I still think it, and maybe I'm just that, I don't know, glass half empty on this. If one person gets it, and let's use football for an example. So you've got all of your offensive linemen, and one of them, and they're all doing drills together, and one of them gets it, and now we're saying that all those kids who play the offensive line have to be out for 14 days. And how big of a change is that? I know what it'd be if I lost one of my best players. I've felt that before.
Well, we wouldn't.
Well, you're not playing football.
You're not.
and the thing you have to come back to is, okay, if we're off 14, football, if you're off 14 days, you're really off 3 weeks from competition. So let's say you played on a Friday, and they said, okay, someone tests positive, you're out 14 days. Well, you miss the next 2 Fridays, but it's 3 weeks before you come back for that third Friday night game. And what if the team you're playing hasn't missed? Because the conditioning aspect alone of just wearing pads and going through the practices is huge.
Yep.
Tremendous.
Well, I can tell you right now that schools our size, we may only have 10 varsity linemen.
Right.
And so you wipe it. We ain't going to have any linemen. We're going to have running backs playing line. I mean, that's when I went back to the thing I said, at some point we're going to have to decide, okay, that person has it. You go home for 14 days. We carry on. I don't think we can keep closing everything down in the world every time someone gets it.
The problem is you got, okay, let's say one kid gets it, and who's a lineman, and we're going to say that all these guys now have to go.
Right.
This is the way it's kind of being explained here. If you're in contact, well, then we played a game on Friday, and that guy played, and he tested positive on a Saturday. So now those guys from the other school who blocked him, they're all is that what we're saying here? I mean, it's a domino effect. I agree with what you're saying, Jason. One kid gets it, you test okay, you're gone for 14 days. That's better. Otherwise, there's no sense in doing this.
Well, I was listening before we got here tonight for the show. I was listening to the Jefferson County Health Department do their live broadcast on Facebook, and I think that lady had said something about somebody had asked a question about how are you going to deal with schools opening up? And her comment was, every school is going to be completely different with the demographics. I mean, you may have a school like Crystal City, which has got I don't know how many students in their whole entire high school or their whole entire school district period, an eighth of what Hillsboro's got in their high school. So you say that one kid gets it and you're going to shut that whole school down, but one kid maybe get it in Hillsboro in the junior high, has no contact with the high school at all, but they're going to shut the whole school district down. And that's why I think that they're saying is they're going to leave it up to the schools for that opportunity to make that decision.
Well, and it's going to be easier for a school like us. I don't want that out there that I said it was easier, but I think it's going to be easier for us to space kids out than, say, Hillsboro. I mean, what do you have at the high school, 1,200, 1,400 kids?
Slightly less than 12. I mean, 1150 is ballpark,
Okay,
right
1150,
there,
we got 440. I mean, it's a lot easier to probably space out 440 kids than versus 1,150.
Right. And I think it's just a slippery slope, but then we also look at, like what you're saying, this is going to be up to the schools. Well, I mean, we've already established that CYA is very much a thing with schools. So I'm not going to hide behind it. Hey, that's a fact, okay? Right. And you know what? Probably they should, so that way they can keep their money. But that's the problem here. That if we're going to leave up to the schools, there's a good chance that it's, well, if one kid and he was around these kids and they're all out.
Oh, yeah.
And let's just be safe and sorry because there's that much snow on the ground and we got to call it off. That's how it is.
And we saw that this year.
And saw it this year.
There was a very simple. There was a recommendation that we were going to get a foot of snow, and we got 5 inches of rain instead of a foot of snow, and we canceled school for.
And just about the whole county just about called off school. So
right. I mean,
I take that, and again, for knowing how my time as administrator was, and being in those meetings. That's exactly the kind of thinking that's going to happen. It's going to be let's be safe and not be sorry about it because the one kid that God forbid something happens to him, that's the one that matters in this whole thing, and not the however many got infected and they're okay.
Yeah, it's all about that on one. Every kid matters, and every kid matters. So that's what I think the mentality that the schools are going to take is that kid matters just as much as the next kid matters. So we got to limit those opportunities to occur. So it's a huge liability.
How are you going to limit kids? Are going to.
But I think that's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to limit as much as they can.
Well, from our standpoint, and I'm sure the way you run your drill, with your stuff with football, and how I know you guys do it, we're all going to try to do our part as coaches.
Right.
Correct.
But when they walk out of our stuff and go home, we ain't got any control over that. I mean, they're going to do their
I'm
thing.
not even talking about that. I'm just talking about it's impossible to play football without touching someone else. It's impossible to play basketball without
wrestling. You're right in. I mean, all those sports, you're literally right in.
I mean,
you're going to have the sweat of the other person on your hands, on your arms, on your jersey or whatever, just because that's the way the games are played.
I mean, I don't know. We can play basketball without touching. We don't say we're good screens. We don't box out rebounds. The other guy goes around.
Well, you evidently did it a lot better.
Oh, stop it. Here we go.
But I think that the big thing about it, when it comes down to it, is every program is going to have regulations that you're going to have to follow. And if we're going to want to stay afloat and continue to keep doing this stuff, we're going to have to follow 100% those guidelines. And kids are going to have to be held accountable too, and we're going to have to, basically be as coaches, we're going to be impacting them and saying, hey, take care of yourselves, do this, do that, and hopefully they listen, Hopefully they don't go out and go play a pickup basketball game with 85 people.
Did you just see the thing at Rucker Park over in Festus? I mean,
I did.
The kids are going to play sports against each other.
But I'm saying is, but then when in 2 weeks.
I'm recommending them not to do stuff too. But
I'm
16,
saying
remember when you were 16?
It's hard.
You knew everything. You knew everything.
That idea of being invincible.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
When you're young,
they don't understand this.
You don't think you can get hurt. You don't. And just getting hurt, kids don't think that
No.
some of the stuff they do could be dangerous and lose a season just doing something on a skateboard or a bike or my daughter, she broke her arm just on her bike this 3 or 4 weeks ago. And, she didn't plan to do it or whatever. She just couldn't stop and went down the hill and crashed the bike. So just that stuff in itself is dangerous. And then you throw this on top of it with kids then being just around each other. it's a double whammy.
I want us to do whatever we can in our power as administrators, school districts, MISHA, to get these kids the opportunity to be able to participate in sports. Because I know sports kept me in line. Sports kept me in the seat in that teacher's class. Sports kept me from being a knucklehead. And they still do, as Coach Jones would say from Crystal. And I think we got to do everything we can to try to get that to where it is. And I mean, you know, whether it's I got to squirt my basketballs down with a fogger every time we use them, whatever I got to do, I got to sanitize my hands, whatever. We got separate water bottles for everyone. I think everyone's going to try to do what they can. I don't know how it's all going to roll out. I just wish I'm sick of I don't know. I wish someone knew.
Well, you know, you mentioned water bottles. We've talked about that. Like, okay, football, if we have to have a different water bottle for every kid, I mean, we're looking at 90-plus kids.
Yeah,
for varsity football
for
game.
us, it ain't near as bad.
We call. I mean, I can just envision we call a timeout, and you look over, and all the kids are like, "All right, got to find mine." And it's like, do we get
Timeout's
5 or 10
over.
minutes here because we got 90 water
It's
bottles
so
here?
crazy. I haven't really thought of that. You know, during game time, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I got blared.
You got the music. And the music means it's time to. Yeah, no,
He's trying to make Blair feel good.
Yeah.
I mean, we had our best viewership last week without Blair here.
Man.
And now, you know, he's not trying to cut him off.
I know. Trying to make him feel good.
Here we go.
Turn over to you, Ray.
Goodness. All I got to say is wow to that.
Get the viewership up.
Get that viewership up. Do us a huge favor. We'll say that right now. Like and share the page. Share this with everybody. Folks that might be interested in Jefferson County sports, so we'd appreciate that. You're watching the Coach's Box. We'll be right back.
And I'll say real quick, you know, I really admire what you guys do with this. I think everybody who's ever tuned into one of these, whether it's a Legion game, whether it's a high school baseball game, with basketball, football, whatever it is, I've heard nothing but tremendous feedback about Livestream STL and what you guys do and the quality of production, things like that. I would really encourage anybody who's involved in athletics throughout the county, or really anywhere in the metro area, anybody who's interested in sponsoring activities to get on board and get involved with this. I think it's added a ton to what we do here. It's added a ton to the program. You guys are a class act, and you're committed to doing things the right way, and we really appreciate that.
For fine Mexican cuisine,
A family atmosphere.
any place to watch your local sport teams. Come out to La Pechangas. Check out our 4 locations: Arnold, Herculaneum, Crystal City, and Monterey. Come out to La Pechanga.
A former player and coach of Festus 253 baseball, and now specializing in criminal defense, family law, wills, estates, and trusts, the law offices of Matthew Brown is here for you, representing you the right way, not the easy way. In Festus at 101 East Main Street or on Facebook and the web, call 314-628-0033.
Guys, I've always wanted to ask you this since you're both pitchers. What's your favorite pitch? It's a fastball? Okay, I know. It's a curveball. No? Okay, well, what's your favorite pitch? Oh, yeah. Spitball.
The Main Street Sports Show. You never know what we're going to throw at you.
Since their inception in 1980, SMCI has always been about high integrity and treating people the way you would want to be treated, just like family. Mostly known as a commercial contractor, SMCI has now decided to give the family treatment to everyone. They are now opening their residential department to the public as Home by SMCI so everyone can experience the home treatment. Everyone deserves maximum comfort in their very own home. Isn't it time you come home? Contact SMCI at 636-337-4444 or on the web at homebysmci.com.
USA Mortgage, the home of possibility. Offices located in Festus, servicing homeowners from St. Louis to Cape Girardeau. Contact Justin Neal at 636-385-5232 or check him out on the web at festus.usa-mortgage.com.
What you guys do for Jefferson County sports, it doesn't go unnoticed by the coaches in all sports.
Yeah,
all
I appreciate
sports.
that.
You know, I have a lot of friends that are head, basketball coaches, and I've been, of course, around Jefferson County all my life and followed all kinds of sports, even before I got into the coaching. So what you guys do to help promote it with the kids is unbelievable, and we appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
For you guys to take your time and what you do. Is awesome. Just awesome.
Yeah, we try, we work hard, and we think they deserve it. The kids deserve to be able to be seen, and if we can turn out kids in the community to better them, get them in college, and make them a better citizen, that's the key. I want to let you know a little bit about our week. We've got a pretty busy week this week here. You see the 15th, Farmington at Festus tomorrow night, 5:30 and 7:30. I'll be alongside Jim Powers tomorrow night and D. Riley Blair. Also the 16th, Festus at Charleston. The 17th and 18th, Ron Bone Tournament. We're going to have a great weekend through the rest of this week also of some great baseball, and we'll let you know about our Diamond Cast watch party here Thursday night at La Pachenga's. Come on out, 5 and 7 o'clock. Make sure you come by and tell Joel that we sent you here from Livestream STL. You get 15% off your bill, so check that out. He'll have the Roku channel going on here. 5 and 7 o'clock are the games out at Charleston. I want to thank our sponsor for the Home Dome as well. We won't have the Home Dome out at Charleston, but we will at a lot of our other places here. Home by SMCI. Give them a call at 636-337-4444. Lawrence Crodinger over at Home by SMCI. We're going to walk into our next segment here. And guys, we're having a great time here talking football, and we want to tell you also that we're going to have probably going to have our own party here to announce the football schedule.
Love it.
So I think that's just fitting. We should do that one night here. Just have a night where
so what you're saying is dinner on Ray, right?
No.
Ray's by dinner.
Well,
That's what I was thinking. I mean, episode 16. I mean, right? Yeah.
By the way, the reason why we haven't released it yet is because we're waiting on a couple of ADs just to make sure that the schedules are good. But it looks like so far so good going forward at this point. So you guys are going to be happy because we're working on doubling our teams to do 2 games, which really expands a lot more exposure. Instead of you getting maybe 1 or 2 games, you might be getting like 3 or 4 games this season. So I know Coach Saharsky, I've told him right now we're looking at about 4 games over at Hillsboro, probably the same over at Herculaneum. So
what I like
so stay
to hear.
tuned.
What about Pius?
Pius? Well, stay tuned, and we'll let you know about that.
Still waiting.
I think I saw like week 1 is going against. I got to talk Tilden. We can't have that happen.
You're the Cranium Cup champ, so I just like to leave you hanging here.
All right, whatever. It's fine. A little announce party. You're not even going to buy us dinner.
I'm sorry.
Make it worth a while.
Lordy.
It'll be a fun
Let's
show.
move into our next segment here.
Ray's like, yeah, let's talk about something else.
finding food for everybody. So, I think it's safe to say that it's going to be a pretty interesting year, obviously. And when we get back to actually playing sports, high school sports, what do you see as being who do you see as being the best teams in the county football wise, Coach?
Oh, I mean, just at our conference, each year I think every team's kind of improved, even the last couple of years. Festus is always plays us tough. Obviously, they're one of our big rivals. Windsor I thought was much improved last year, and they've done a good job up there. So I expect them to be better. DeSoto's been on the up the last few years, and they beat us 2 years ago and gave us fits. And so those teams, North County, we played a nail biter. I think it was triple overtime. We lost to them last year. So from a conference standpoint, we've gotten to a point where if you play bad, you can get beat, and you got to play well to win it. So, we won the conference last year, but we weren't undefeated in the conference. That just gives you an idea of how tough it was. The bigger schools, Fox always puts out a good program. Coach does a great job up there, and so. They're a tough program. Don't get to see the small schools as much when you're focused on the bigger schools. But there's obviously with that conference, Valley's always the one that you got to beat.
They're pretty tough.
We don't really like talking about Valley too much.
Down here. Yeah, he does a great job down there. And so getting to work over at R7, and coaching with Coach Rugley. For all those years at Hillsboro when we were together, he does a great job there, and I know they played a lot of young kids last year too, and he'd probably tell you the same. They're probably going to look to obviously have a better year than what they had last year. So, those are always
spoken like a true Hillsboro Hawk. He had to mention that Festus team.
I
I still the first score I'm worried about on Friday nights is Herky right now, but. If I know that Hillsboro and Festus are playing, I'm going to check that score as fast as possible.
You're just going to go find that Letterman jacket.
I know. Letterman. I can't fit in that.
Well, wait a minute. I've never said anything about that.
Well, there's no way I can fit in that Letterman's jacket anymore.
And that rivalry, it's built up more than just football. It's
competitive in basketball. And it's fun.
And DeSoto's the same way. Obviously the biggest. You'd probably say was basketball in all the years, the 80s, 90s when Alan Davis was down there. There was some really good teams, but you had a year when Festus won state in basketball.
That was my freshman year of high school. Yep.
Hillsboro and DeSoto. I mean, I couldn't tell you what the conference pecking order was, but I know those games were. As a kid watching them, they were tough games, and Festus ends up winning the Class 3 title. But that just gives you an idea, just that rivalry between those three schools and a lot of different stuff.
Big time.
Speaking of basketball, I mean, I hate to go back to basketball, but
I know
you also coach basketball at Hillsboro also, right?
Yes, I do. I coach the freshman team, so had the opportunity last year. Got hired late in the game. We had a late resignation, and Coach Johnson came to me and said, asked if I'd be interested. And I hadn't coached it since Coach O'Connell was there. I was his varsity assistant when Coach O'Connell was there.
Great guy. He's at Herky as a teacher now.
Yeah, I love Chris.
Great guy.
And my kids were, I got 3 kids, and I kind of gave it up because as they were growing, it was really they're missing their stuff. But now that they're getting closer to that junior high and high school age, my son's gonna be a freshman. My one son's in 6th grade. He's part of our youth football program at Hillsboro. It just works out now to where I can be part of it, don't have to miss because we're on the same schedule.
Now, are you a 3-sport coach? Or?
No, I just do those 2.
Just those 2?
When I was at Herky, I coached football and basketball for a handful of years too, so I've coached those 2 sports predominantly, but nothing in the spring.
So basketball wise, we'll go with that. I mean, what kind of defense does Dan tell you what to coach defensively, or what's your favorite? You zone or man guy or matchup guy?
Matchup zone maybe.
Matchup zone maybe.
I'm fortunate to coach. My brother does the JV at Hillsboro, so I'm fortunate to coach with him, and we really try to just use that JV and that freshman to just feed into the varsity program. So what Dan is doing, we try to implement that with those kids, and it goes year to year in terms of I would say what your talent is, how big you are, what you can do. I know last year with Worley, we were able to force a lot of stuff inside because he he could block a lot of shots. So
Right.
it was part of the the scheme at the varsity level. Well, when you're not as big at the JV or freshman, you can't necessarily play that. But we do mix it up. We'll play man we'll
Or
play
at the
zone.
varsity. But anyway, go ahead.
But we mix it up. We play man or we play zone. Dan pushes an up-tempo game, and we got a lot of work where we put time on the clock and force the kids to get up and down and really push that tempo and make them play fast and try to create extra possessions by doing that. Sure. So.
Well, he's done a really great job over there, that's for sure.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun last year, and the kids I got to coach last year were an awesome group. Coaching, especially for me getting back in it made it even better. We're having a really, really good group of kids. And the group coming up is a really good group of kids.
I found when I got back into coaching, having a really great group of kids made things easier too.
Oh, it definitely does.
I mean, it
Yeah.
just really did. I mean, you can do a lot of different things. that's what I think. I know Coach Blair's a big fan of the up tempo game, so
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you're not going to go any Grinnell, are you? Where you're trying to
No. I mean,
shoot threes every time. Snowbird a guy.
We try to play to our strengths. Sometimes some kids you got to settle down a little bit because they see their buddy make a three. It's like, hey, that kid, he does shoot the ball a little better than you. You got to realize that. So we had some good size too on our freshman team last year. We had a couple 6'4" kids that were freshmen for us that have,
nice to have.
You guys had a very entertaining tournament against Northwest at our place.
Yeah, that was a back and forth game. A team we lost to earlier in the year, so our kids kind of got some revenge with a half-court buzzer beater to win it. So
it was a great shot. Who was it?
Noah Holland.
Yeah, Noah Holland hit that shot, and I mean, it was so back and forth. That was one of the best freshman games I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I agree.
The kids came to really wanted to win that game, and it was a good tournament, and it was a good win for them, obviously. And especially, that what's unique about our freshman schedule for boys basketball is, when they're in junior high, it's really that conference schedule where we're playing everybody in the conference, and we turn around and, we went up to Parkway West early in the year, and I mean, we did not perform well to say the least. And even the JV game, I think they had 14 or 15 threes halfway through the second quarter. On our JV, and I was on the bench, and my brothers. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you.
Matchup's not working.
I can't. Everything they're firing up's going in, and I mean, both games we lost by 30 plus, but it was a lesson for our kids because they hadn't had that on their schedule for 2 years at the junior high playing a school of that caliber, and it made them. We brought them back in the next day, and those kids, like I said, they're a great group, and they continued to fight and got better and better.
You guys had some good kids. You had the two Allison kids. You had the Day kid. I mean, you had the real big center, real big kid. I can't think of his name.
Safort.
Yeah, Logan.
We had Kieran Jones, who's the other 6'4".
I mean, you guys had some players on that team. It was fun to watch that freshman group.
I'm going to shift gears a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Real quick question before we go into our trivia stuff. But but being from Hillsboro and in a large school in our county conference, and for nobody who people do not know, the middle school schedule is set up by the conference. Large schools have to play small schools, small have to play large,
right.
And then at the end you play your conference tournament, small against small, large against large. But those games now being when I'm coaching in Grandview and I see our middle school kids playing against DeSoto or Hillsboro or Perryville, I mean, they're getting slaughtered, and it almost seems like it's not even a good game for the large schools either. So, in your opinion, should that be something that we should all look into maybe changing, to just play? You can go play whoever you want to play Parkway West in the middle school schedule, then you should be able to go play Parkway West.
Right. Yeah, and I don't. A lot of those schools up, once you get north of Jefferson County, they don't have the junior high schedule. They have a lot.
But now,
of
if you go down south,
but yes, if you go down south. But I think you look at obviously travel, and I think with the cuts that have happened with education, because everything that's going to be a big issue looking forward, not just this year, but for the next couple of years. Like, hey, travel wise, do we need to go down that far to play? Do we need to go to say a Fredericktown to play a 7th grade basketball game?
Right.
And that's a hard question that people are going to have to. From a competitive standpoint, is that probably better? Yes, but obviously economically, that's a decision.
Well, I mean, and I just want to say it is, let's take the travel, and I understand that because that's a big thing, or the kids being out late, stuff like that, especially in middle school. I mean, do you find it to be conducive to play small schools like that, or should you, from that standpoint, I want to go play somebody who can help us be better?
No, I mean, you brought up, I know last year, with my one son being in 8th grade last year, we get down to they're playing Grandview last year, and it was, I think our 7th grade was up 27 or 29-2, early in the second quarter. And clearly that doesn't prepare our kids to play a Parkway West or who's on the schedule who Hillsborough plays in the regular season as they get to high school. So from that standpoint, no, it doesn't necessarily benefit our kids. That decision why they've done it, for all those years, I couldn't tell you why, but
no, you've been around a long time. Do you know
why we've done that? I mean, that's traditionally what we've always done, I guess. You hear that said sometimes. We were talking about the size of school, 1150 to 440. It's probably not a big, for us to play each other. Now other people say, well, you got to play the best competition. Well, I get that, but
we all know how middle school kids, they develop a lot differently.
Well,
and the biggest kid in middle school might, if we're talking basketball wise, he might be a post player in middle school, and all of a sudden now he's your point guard size in high school.
Right.
So it's pretty much whose kids are more developed at that time, middle school wise.
Yeah,
definitely.
But how many kids, and from a small school standpoint, I can see you're playing those bigger schools, or that kind of competition almost scares you off from playing.
Sure.
And let's just face it, not a lot of kids want to take their butt kickings like that, playing all these massive kids, and then they're like, yeah, this ain't for me. And it's the same way with.
And that's what kind of worries me about us talking about big school, small school, everyone, let's just keep it conference. That'd be kind of hard for some of these small schools to play.
You don't think Her can go power eye against Festus?
Well, I mean, we'll try our best. I mean, it's a numbers game. I mean, there's going to be years that a small school could compete with those schools.
But then they also say that. But then I also say that for a Hillsborough or a Festus to come and play us, and for some odd reason that they upset them. I mean that takes a toll on those kids at your program if that would happen.
Or the coaches.
Well,
or the coaches.
He's on the chopping block.
If you look at now the way that the whole point system playoff set up and everything, that's why you can't. It doesn't benefit a bigger school to go play a smaller school because you don't get the the points for that right off the bat. And if you're looking, trying to play for district seed and things like that.
We added some bigger schools this year in hopes of that getting us more points.
Right. I mean,
even if you lose, you're going to get more points than maybe you would have, playing someone a little less
younger.
Well, our regular season right now, we start off with Northwest week 1 and Jackson week 2. And so you're looking at 2 bigger schools. We got Bluff on the schedule at the end again, and we've been playing Bluff for a handful of years now. And
Jackson's
going to
be loaded.
Yeah, Jackson returns almost everybody. And we played. This will be our 3rd year playing them. So playing those bigger schools, you do get the benefit of those points. And with Hillsborough's success, it's not like we've been able to call smaller schools to want to play us.
Yeah,
so we've had to look a little bit further and play and pick up teams like that.
And I think that's the thing. That's the part of it. You start to have success, so you want to play some other schools to make you push your kids a little harder and a little farther and to make them better. And then let's say you have go through a 3 or 4 year down spell where you can't compete against those teams.
Well, we had a young we'll be a young football team again this year. Just you look at our numbers. We got 13 seniors. We got 23 juniors, 27 sophomores, and 38 freshmen right now. So when you look at that back end, I mean, we're 90 plus kids, but 60 of them are freshmen and sophomores. Now we got obviously some sophomores who started for us last year as freshmen, who are very talented players for us. But last year when we started the season, and we played that rain monsoon game against Sullivan, we played a very good St. Charles West team, played a very good Farmington team. And we were young, and we told the kids, hey, we started at 0-3, and we're like, you guys are not a bad football team, one. I said, you've played some good teams. You played the monsoon, which that's a kind of a coin flip game when everyone's fumbled the ball everywhere. Mm-hmm. We'd have loved to play that game when it was dry, but that night it wasn't. So, it was what it was. But you turn around and there's no shame in losing to St. Charles West and a Farmington, and our kids, played St. Charles West tough at home, and we reiterated week to week, and credit to those kids because they came back at week and really focused, and I think we played Festus the following week and had a really good game, and we're fortunate enough to win that game. But it was a credit to those kids for understanding that your schedule prepared you for that Festus game.
Yeah.
And even though you didn't win it, some people sometimes get caught up in wins and losses, and if you coach long enough, sometimes a 5-5 team's one of your better teams based on who you got on your schedule.
Well, you bring up Festus. I think that whole thing's going to be an interesting storyline over there with their new coach.
Mm-hmm.
Interested to see how that's going to go and what Festus, what he brings to the table for them over
Absolutely.
there.
So,
big change.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
I got a question for you. Have you talked to Coach O?
I have not. I actually have not. I was hired, and we were within a couple of days. We were in our dead week and everything, and really just trying to focus on getting things what our kids need. Getting things ordered for what we need for the season, and Coach Freeman had already ordered some stuff, and talking to him and making sure what we had ordered. Obviously didn't want to duplicate an order on anything and end up having too much of something. So really just getting that stuff done and making sure. And when I talked to a lot of the vendors, they said, hey, get on it as soon as possible because with their factories being shut down, they can't guarantee things are going to come in the same amount of times they came last year.
Yeah, we're getting new uniforms, and thank goodness Coach Hunter got them in real early and and before a lot of those factories shut down.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things we're having trouble with over at Pius was when they got the helmets reconditioned and get the new chin straps, they didn't send the right chin straps.
Uh-oh.
So we had to send those back, and when they're doing, they're in shell gear, the chin straps they're using are the old ones. So
we saw you try them on the other day for a commercial.
Yeah, that was the old one. Trust me, it was an old one. I was like, I don't know who this was. But
that's great.
Yeah, we cleaned it. I guess with that, Ray, I guess we can go ahead and get into our trivia.
All right.
We can't now. We got to turn these over because people
turn it
throw
over.
the answers out there.
Oh, yeah, we did that.
Here we go.
I remember that last week.
All right.
I want to thank Jeff Whitener for being there for me in my remissed duties.
Don't look at me like Jeff. Give me the answers. Don't even start. I think I'm just gonna let you win. Just
don't let me win.
No.
I haven't deserved to win.
All right, here we go.
Hey, first or last, Ricky Bobby.
I was first loser twice. Let's go.
These are questions courtesy of the Sporting News. Just so don't shoot the messenger.
I used to love the Sporting.
Now we got to say we're gonna let Coach participate. So if he wins, he doesn't get a chance to have the cup because hopefully McVay's back, but. We'll give it to the first runner-up of us three nutters here.
All right. Question number 1. This is a multiple answer question, so there's. Here we go. So
thanks, Jeff.
Name at least 5.
Oh my gosh!
I can't even count that high.
Wow.
Name at least
Come on,
5 of the 7 players who have rushed for over 200 or 2,000 yards in a single season. Let me say that again. Name at least 5 of the 7 players who have rushed for 2,000 yards in a single season.
No guess on it. Give me a
There are
second
7 that have done it.
We're talking
But
NFL,
you just need
college?
5. It's all NFL.
All NFL.
All our questions
And we're
are
talking
NFL.
over 2,000 yards in a season.
2,000 yards.
Just rushing.
In a single season. Yes.
Just rushing.
Yep, just rushing.
Oh,
7
I'm
people have done it.
I'm not going to get this one at all.
All right.
I'm more of a college guy. The NFL.
Oh my gosh, dude.
All right. Is everybody ready? Let me know when you're ready.
Oh my gosh, you got to get 5.
Yeah, give a little bit of time, man.
I get 2, I think, maybe.
I have 3.
I know Jeff's on the other line over here saying you're welcome.
Yes. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, let's. What happened to the multiple choice questions and stuff, man?
Yep. See, hey, if you ask for what you don't get me when you don't. I don't ask the questions.
Uh-huh.
See?
Well,
all of these are, I think, multiple answer except for one here. It looks like
we don't have non-Hall of Famers as choices here.
That was great, by the way.
I wanted to make sure you guys realized who Hall of Famer was. Make something easy. Not like Jeff here.
You got to name 5 of the 7. All right.
Oh, so we have to get 5 right.
You have to get all 5 right in order to get the point. That's right.
Oh my God.
5 of the 7 right. Here we go.
I'm out.
I got 5, but
I got 5, but it's not
they're
right.
not right.
All right.
I'm
so
just guessing. I got some two, so
Go
I'm
ahead
out.
and flip your boards. I want to see.
OJ.
Wow.
Oh, did LaDainian Tomlinson, was he one of them?
I don't know.
Nope.
Okay, good.
Here's the
name us
answers.
the 7
Here's
here.
the answers.
I
Hold
did
on.
not get that
How many did you
right.
get?
Oh,
Oh,
just check 'em.
don't erase.
Hey,
I got
hey,
two.
hey,
won't check.
I didn't get
Mark
mine.
I'm
them
going
wrong.
to check.
All right, so you're out.
Yeah.
So
You're out.
here are the answers. Eric Dickerson,
Got it.
I got it. One.
Adrian Peterson,
Got it.
I missed him.
Jamal Lewis,
Got it.
Nope.
Barry Sanders,
Got it.
Stop it.
Terrell Davis,
Terrell Davis.
Davis,
yep.
yeah.
Chris Johnson,
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
That's the one I was missing.
Titans.
O.J. Simpson.
And OJ.
So he's
I
got five.
had 3.
He's got 5. You had 3.
I had 2.
Coach.
I had 3.
Coach had 3. All right. All right.
I had 6.
So 6. There's only 5 on here. Oh, you did have 6.
I did have 6.
So
I
you
didn't
got-
have Chris
so you
Johnson.
got 1.5 points. All right, there you go.
There you go.
It's okay.
So
All right, erase. We're going to go to question
I
number
don't
2.
think we want Jeff doing these anymore.
I like that.
So
Jeff,
one-
keep doing them.
So
Jeff,
1
you're
point
out.
for Chris. Everybody else, no points.
Multiple
Question
choice, Jeff.
number 2.
I don't think we have to worry. He's going to win this again.
Golly.
Dang.
Question number 2. Name the only person to play on 3 consecutive Super Bowl championship teams. Here's a hint. He played with Deion Sanders.
3 championship teams.
3 consecutive Super Bowl championship teams. You play with Deion Sanders, so you got to. It kind of nails it down to one team.
No. Deion
Yes, it
Sanders
does.
played for several teams.
But think about it. How many Super Bowls did he win with that team?
I got it. I think. No, I don't. I don't know.
All right.
I'm pretty sure I got it.
I don't have a clue.
I don't have it. I don't have no idea.
All right.
These are.
I'm
I
out
don't like
anyways.
Jeff now either.
Here we go. Ready? Go ahead, Flip.
Answer? No.
Charles Haley.
Oh, it's Charles Haley.
It is Charles Haley.
Dang
Gosh
it. I'm
dang
like, why did it say Ken Norton?
I didn't answer the question. The answer's Ken Norton.
Is it?
Is it really?
I'm not joking.
I thought it was Charles Haley.
Nope.
See, didn't he play with the Niners when Norton did too and won it?
It says the answer is
I think he-
Ken Norton Jr. was a member of Dallas for Super Bowl 27 and 28 and helped the 49ers help them win the Super Bowl.
That's what I thought Ken Norton was, but when you said Charles
But
Haley, I'm like,
I think Haley
I
might have
think
been on
Haley
the 49ers
was too.
He was.
He was
According
on the
to-
49ers.
according-
but did he?
Did he win a championship?
He might have won it. He might have won it before he went to Dallas because I know he.
He might have won 2.
Yeah,
All right.
Well, did it? Because it was Cowboys, Niners, Cowboys.
Even
Jeff, you
your
need to
brother
look that
Jarvis
up.
said Charles Haley too. That's interesting.
So was he Cowboys, Niners?
I don't know.
You
It was
might wanna look
Cowboys,
up
Cowboys,
Charles.
Niners.
Jeff
what it
needs to
was.
look that up.
I think Jeff needs to look that. It doesn't matter. You two are out anyway.
All right.
Well, how many questions are there? 4?
There's 2 more left.
We're done.
Wait, you know,
No, you can bomb
you're
out.
saying there's a chance.
You're saying
bomb.
there's a chance.
Where's all that 1 in a million talk?
It's a bomb.
Nobody got that movie.
Where's
either.
the white flag?
White flag.
No, that's our missing persons flyer.
All right.
We got to put one out for McVay now.
We're gonna have to check that, Coach.
coaching Little League.
Definitely have to check that.
I think I'm
Question
missing
number
the next
3.
one too.
Here we go. Question number 3. What NFL team has lost a record 9 straight postseason games? What NFL team has lost a record 9 straight postseason games? Riley is like dumbfounded. What's up with that? He's thinking hard.
9
9 consecutive,
So is it
9 straight postseason games.
Is it a current streak?
That's a good question.
See, that's the thing. I mean, is that a current streak?
Probably.
I don't know the answer to that. I can't say. It doesn't say. It talks about a streak, but it doesn't talk about if it's the current streak.
I'm going to go with it.
Okay? Answers?
With it. I
Ready?
don't know if it's right.
They're all still thinking.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I just
9
go with the
straight
first one.
losing.
No,
We're just in the Super Bowl, you dummy.
That's right, they
Did
were.
you hear the Falcons?
Yeah, that's right. They just won the Super Bowl, but not for the consecutive.
He wrote the Falcons.
But was it the consecutive before that?
Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame.
Hey, before that.
Oh my gosh.
No,
lost-
because they had to get to the Super Bowl to
No.
get beat by the Broncos.
Before, like the 9 consecutive
All right.
years before the last year.
I think it's the current. I think.
Yeah.
Sporting news is, though.
I could be wrong. I don't
have one yet because I just
All right.
I'm trying to think.
What team has lost 9 consecutive postseason in the 9 years in a row? Go ahead. There. Go ahead there.
I don't have one.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Incorrect.
I put Dallas.
Incorrect.
Is it Buffalo?
It is not Buffalo. The answer, and this streak began in 1991, is the Detroit Lions.
I was almost going to say that.
It was Cincinnati, Buffalo, and Detroit. But I can't remember when Detroit was in the playoffs.
That was my thing. I couldn't remember if they made it
Rodney
9 times.
Rodney Pete.
Yeah, I would have never thought they made it 9 times.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I stayed away from them. Like they weren't in 9 times. No way.
This one you should all three get. You should. I hope.
Yeah, right.
Riley's 0 for 3
I'm 0
right now. Question number 4. The NFL has had just 3 commissioners since 1960. Who are they? The NFL has had just 3 commissioners since 1960. Who are they?
Come on.
I don't do NFL.
And you can just give me the last names.
Zero. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, the one I don't know how to spell.
It's okay.
I only know one.
I knew all 3 of them. I knew all 3 of them.
Jeff, you are fired.
Well, you got to remember, he goes to all these trivia things.
He's the
trivia
trivia
nut.
guru,
I know.
man. He is.
I hate trivia.
Yeah. So
Useful
all right.
knowledge.
We ready?
Chris has plenty
I got
of it.
2. I can't think of the one before the
Hold on.
last 2.
Isn't that who it is now?
Oh, man.
Goodell? Isn't that who it is now? I don't know.
You can't share your answers now.
I lost. I got one answer. Goodell.
Still didn't get it.
Son of a gun.
Miller's really milking
You've
it
got
here.
this one. No one has even.
No.
I've got 2 of the 3.
I still
but
like
I
to
can't-
try to get.
but I can't get the one.
Oh, man.
And time's up. Who do we
gosh,
got?
I didn't know there was a timer on
We
it.
got Goodell and Tagliavue.
That's who I got. I
correct.
can't get the one.
Zero
Pete
correct
Rozelle.
answer.
Pete Rozelle.
Pete
was
Rozelle.
the-
Yeah,
Pete
that's
Rozelle,
God, I was like Pete.
Paul
Pete,
Tagliabue, Roger Goodell.
Pete. Yeah.
Pete Rozelle, 1960 to 1989. That's almost 30 years. How about that?
All right. They just had something on him the other day.
Multiple choice is the way to go.
There it is.
Leitner is not allowed to do this again.
Fired.
Sorry, Jeff. They want easy questions next time. So
Think about basketball.
it is what it is. Unfortunately, fortunately,
I'm not an NFL
Chris
guy.
Miller takes away the cup, the Cranium Cup again. Three-time champion. The 3-time
It's a three-peat.
champion. It's a
Not
three-peat.
1, not 2.
Well, now you got to retire and come back.
How about that?
Isn't that sweet?
I'm going to step away from the game to focus on baseball.
Loser.
Then watch The Last Dance again. Hey, Riley, you ever watch The Last Dance?
Never.
Never watched Last
seen
Dance.
it. I don't even know what you're talking about.
My
Who
goodness.
does it include?
Who's in that?
Kevin Bacon.
Okay.
There was no Kentucky players really in it, so he didn't.
Yeah, I don't think
Oh, God.
did any Kentucky players win with the Bulls?
Right.
No.
You know, Doug Collins was from my hometown, by the way.
Was he?
Yeah. Benton, Illinois.
Wow.
Yeah, and look what they did after Doug Collins
I know.
left.
That's why I never mentioned that.
Kind of shows you.
Shows you hometown there.
He's a legend over there.
Right.
He's a legend.
Hey, you're that guy who got fired.
We're going to wrap things up. Coach, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks
Appreciate
for having
it.
me
here.
Looking forward to some Hillsboro Hawk football.
Right.
And Herculaneum Black Cat football.
Yes.
And St. Pius X football.
Man.
And hopefully we'll have we might just do a show and we'll talk about those matchups maybe. That might be a good show to do. And we might bring Jeff in here too to do trivia with us.
So he can ridicule him in person.
I know. I'm out.
How about that, right?
Let's see what he had to say on here.
He hasn't said anything.
No, he's quiet.
He hasn't said that.
Boy, that's unusual.
It is.
Not a random question at all or nothing.
Let's talk about next week because I am out Monday and Tuesday, but I am a free Wednesday next Wednesday.
Wednesdays are bad. I've told you this.
Okay. So I don't know what we're going to do.
Well, we'll figure it out. And let everyone know.
Maybe we just take a remote to camp.
Yeah, we're not going.
Maybe just
we're
with a
not going
couple
to
of-
basketball.
Just come to camp right here.
Come to your practice?
No, we're not coming to my
How come we can't come to your practice?
You can come to my practice.
Yeah.
Want to come to my practice?
The next week.
How about we coach each other's kids? That'd be fun.
Oh.
How many kids? Who do you want me to run off? No, I'm kidding. I would never do that. I would never do that.
So I can hear it now. Don't you all value your education? Because at Pius, we value your education.
Nonsense.
For those of you who don't
I need to
know,
wear a red
that's,
shirt.
that's Chris Miller's calling card right there.
Not just Chris Miller's.
It is what it is. All right, guys. Well, fun show, episode 15. When we come back, do we do another
15
week?
or 16?
16. Is it
Ray's
16?
losing count.
He's behind.
We got to start using Roman numerals. So that way you understand.
Thanks.
Wow. Man. Wow.
Sorry, Coach. This is why we scare people away right here. Because real talk happens at the end.
You do it long enough.
And next week we'll have a replacement for Coach Miller. No, I'm just kidding.
He just said he was retiring.
He's retired.
Yeah,
Moving on.
We're going to have to call one of those people that are on assignment, like Shooty or somebody back for an
Shooty, you're coming back.
You're banned for a week. Take your cranium cup and go.
The 3-time Cranium Cup is on leave tonight.
It's like a title belt.
Fighting bees.
Yeah, I'm representing my boy Eli Boyer.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
That's where he's going.
And where's that at again?
St. Ambrose. Yeah.
St. Ambrose Fighting Bees.
That's right, the Fighting Bees. I was like, really?
Right.
It's a Fighting Bees? That's sweet.
Right.
Hook me up with a shirt. Boom, they got a shirt like
There it
next
is.
time.
There it is. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up things here. Thanks so much for watching the Coach's Box, and we appreciate everybody.
Jeff's watching now.
Now he's watching.
Oh,
And he just posted.
Charles Haley has won 5 Super Bowls, but never 3 consecutive.
There it is. There it is. There's your answer.
Jeff
Sorry,
went to
Coach.
Sports Reference to find
Sorry,
that out.
Coach.
Probably.
Ken Norton did.
Sorry, Coach. If you're interested in sponsoring with us here at Livestream STL for any of our shows or our sporting events, we'd appreciate that. Like right now, we've got going on a our summer sports for summer baseball. If you're interested in sponsoring, give us a call, 314-852-4398 or livestreamstloutlook.com. Sponsor with us. For Ray Halbrook and all of us here at Livestream STL, we're going to say so long. Have a wonderful evening.